What's up, guys and goddesses? Just want to do a quick video for Remedy H. Just showing my little crystal experiment that I did a few months ago that led me to feeling some adverse effects. So I just want to give a quick little background to what I did. So as you can see, I got one end of the wire here, and I coiled it around, and then I'll just go ahead and disconnect the so I got to the end, spiraled it like that, snap perfect. Wish it was better. But so I probably had this thing running at about 20 to 25 volts, my Variac here, which if you don't know what that is, what it does is it takes the alternating current that comes from the outlets from your walls, and you can change the voltage. So Variac allows you to change the voltage of what's coming out of your walls. So I was probably running it at about somewhere between 20 and 25 volts. And I leaned over it because, as you can see, I have my multimeter here so I can see what voltage I'm running at, because this isn't super accurate, and when you look at it from up here, it's a couple volts off. So I just like to look at it. I'm blind. My vision isn't the best, so I like to look over it and see where I'm at if I don't have my multimeter plugged in. And I leaned over it, and I'm like, man, my chest feels really weird. I don't like this pain, this feeling. And I pulled back, and I looked down, and I was like, that's interesting. The crystal's pointing right at my chest. And so I haven't really messed with it too much. Tried to record this video the other day, but I wasn't really too satisfied with it. But really, I'm just trying to show what my setup here is. And then since we're talking about possible weapons that we can create, and a lot of people are talking about magnets, I personally believe I understand magnetism a lot better than most other people. So I just kind of wanted to give a little talk on that as well here at the end, because like most people, when they think of a magnet, the only thing they know of a magnet for is magnetism. And if that's what you think, you're missing a whole side you're missing what a magnet truly is. And if you think a magnet is just magnetism, then everything you knew about a magnet is wrong. All right, but so first, let's just talk about this real quick. So, excuse me, I run this at a few volts because this will vibrate. As you see, I got it sitting on the styrofoam to help, and I got a giant wooden table here, so this thing gets loud. So I got it on some foam to vibrate, or to soften the vibrations, and it's a little late, so I'll only take it to a few volts. But I'll try and describe, not that there's really words for these feelings, but I'll try my best to describe what I'm feeling at a few volts. And you can imagine what it would be, at 5x that. So most I'll take it up to is 5 volts. You can imagine what it would be at 25 volts. I don't feel like being a human guinea pig on myself until I understand what's going on a little bit better. And while I may understand magnetism and electricity, because while people think they're related, they're more related than people think. Okay, but so you can imagine what it would be at 25 volts compared to 5. But yeah, so like I was saying, I understand the magnets and the electricity. Crystals, that's its own intelligent being. That's something a little different. The magnetism and the electricity is what creates all of this. So, and you'll see why I did that in a second when we talk about the magnet. So, see, we'll turn this on. go to 3 volts. All right. I feel a little bit of energy the longer I sit here, the more irritating it gets. And like feel right above my elbow hurting a little bit. Okay, I'll turn it up a couple more volts. And this doesn't have a load on it, so all the heat, everything's getting dumped into this wire. Yep, see, I knew I was getting close to blowing something. I know y'all saw that. I knew I was getting close to blowing something. So this definitely needs, if this is something you want to experiment with and, you know, make some sort of technology, man, my arm hurts. If this is something you want to experiment with, make some technology with, feel free to do so at your own risk. Okay, but understand too, you're definitely going to want to make some, if you understand, you know how to make circuits, all this, you know, you're gonna want to do something so that you don't just have all that current dumping into this wire and just feeding back into the Variac itself, because I know, because it'll vibrate because there's a whole transformer in here, you know, like how your microwaves and stuff have transformers. This is a Toroidal transformer, and it'll vibrate, you know, because we're using alternating current. But I don't know if you guys just heard all that popping and those other noises it was making before the circuit breakers and stuff started to kick in. Yeah, and it smells a little funky down here, but so you definitely want a circuit to protect that, and probably definitely gonna have to heal this crystal, or excuse me, cleanse this crystal. But guys, my arm, I'm still feeling it above my elbow a little bit, and mind you, I was pointing it, you know, right here at my pinky finger, and I was feeling it in my elbow. So it's a little different results than the first time. And also last week or a few days ago, when I tested this, I wasn't feeling too much energy other than the crystals. So this is my setup. I'll go ahead and disconnect the leads now that I've talked about that a little bit. Alright, so I got a crystal here. Okay. And like I said, I started my coil of wire up here, coiled it down, and once I got to the end, you know, I coiled it around and around. As you can see, it's more triangular than circular. And then I disconnect my leads, one of my leads up to here. Again, it doesn't matter because it's alternating current. So I just hook my leads up to here and then hook the other one here. If it was DC current, it would matter. And you probably wouldn't get the same results, because alternating current, you have a wave. With DC, it's just, yeah, it's similar to the concept I'm about to talk about, but not really. It's just this motion is what I'm talking about. So with a magnet, it's important to understand that, like, if I get this magnet here, these are two, and I gotta be careful because I got a magnet that sits in my phone case. But I have two 1x1" magnets together. As you can see, this bottom one's broken. Excuse me if I sound a little weird. I've been sick for a while. A lot of mucus I gotta cleanse from my system. But I have these two magnets, right? And most people think a magnet's field is just, toroidal, goes from here down, loops to the other side, boom, other side. But no, that's not really what's happening. So imagine this is one magnet, right? Not in the middle, okay, not in the middle, but you would have what science likes to call a black wall, what I call a dielectric inertial plane. Okay, it's a null point. It's the plane of everything, yet the plane of nothing. Okay, so you have your magnetic field going from here, not only down looping, but going here as well. Okay, most people don't know that. It's hard to see, hard to find out. Okay, but you have that. But you also have the drain, the vortex. Okay, people love the vortex. People show the magnetic field, or they show the toroid, and boom, oh, look at the vortex. But the vortex is a whole different, separate entity, separate from the torus. Okay, that's the dielectric. That's what this whole talk is about, because people think magnetism or magnets are just magnetism. No, even Michael Faraday, a human being, was able to figure out that magnetism is, and they won't teach you this in school, they won't show it to you in books, okay? Even he figured out, he said, magnetism is the dielectric field. Now, what is dielectricity? Okay, Charles Proteus Steinmetz, who perfected Nikola Tesla's AC motor, okay, this here, okay, he was the one that gave it these thin laminated sheets to reduce the eddy currents, okay? So, and that's what made this whole thing work, okay? He was the guy that made that work. Tesla thought it through, knew how to do everything, but didn't have this down, okay? So, you have the dielectric, okay, which is, it's the ether under stress, strain, tension, or torsion, okay? So if I have a rubber band, okay, let's just call a rubber band ether. Imagine I have a rubber band, and I stretch that rubber band. That's tension, okay? That's the ether, okay? Or that's dielectricity. So you probably experience static electricity on a weekly basis, especially if you're a carbonated being full of electricity, okay? Why? Because static or dielectricity, is often called, and mistakenly called, static electricity. Okay. You probably wouldn't believe me. You'd be like, what the fuck does magnets and static electricity have to do with each other? Everything. If I take this magnet right here, whoa. If I take this magnet right here, and I can do it with those magnets. Okay, but if I take this magnet right here, this is one of the strongest magnets in the world. Okay. It's a 2x2 by 1 inch neodymium pyramid magnet with a 1x1 by something on top of that, with a 2x2 by 1 inch as its base, which eventually I'm going to take out and replace with another pyramidal magnet. But anyways, so if I were to cut up a bunch of styrofoam, all right, and it's got to be the right kind of styrofoam, because everything has different electrical properties. So it's got to be the right kind of styrofoam. So if I were to cut that up real small, and it's the kind of styrofoam you're used to dealing with, not the packing peanuts kind, but if I were to put this magnet down on it, or I don't even gotta put it down on it, I can just hover it over, and you'll see a bunch of styrofoam, and it's got to be small enough. You'll see it all over the bottom of this. I can do it anywhere on the magnet, and it'll collect the styrofoam. And it doesn't matter the charge of anything. It'll pick it up. Why? Because of this dielectric counterspatial sink. Okay. So magnetism is the dielectric field. What do I mean by that? It's like ice water and steam. Okay, it's like it's all the same shit, right? Just different forms of it. If I have a pot of water boiling, right, call the boiling pot of water my dielectric. Off of that, what do I have? I have steam. That steam is like the magnetism. Now here's a video I'll show you. It's a gun being shot underwater. You can see this. This is Smarter Everyday's video. Highly recommend you check out this channel and this video in general, and pretty much any of these videos of a gun being shot underwater. Okay, but this is another example. Okay, so you see he shot the gun. Our bullet is all the way up here. Okay, the bullet is our dielectric. It's the impulse. If I were to tie a rope to the wall and I pulled the rope, it moves instantly. Okay, longitudinal. It's a longitudinal wave. It doesn't have an actual wave component. Everything's instant. That's what Nikola Tesla was trying to do. That's the only way you can do wireless power at a distance. You can't use electromagnetism. That's why people think Tesla coils don't work for long distance power transfer, because they think Tesla coils are electromagnetic. They're not. They work off of this principle, this dielectric principle. So, but if I were to do this with my wrist, move it up and down, I'd get a wave, right? And that takes time. But if I were to just pull it, that reaction happens instantly. So the bullet is the dielectric. These things happen instantly. It's counterspatial, implosion, and it's centripetal. So, which that centripetal, I guess you could think of it as a way of counterspatialness. Centripetal means it's going in on itself, basically. Whereas if it's centrifugal, it's going outwards, okay? Which is what magnetism actually is, okay? Centrifugal. Dielectricity is centripetal. Goes into counter space, like fuck. Imagine, counter space is kind of not the best word to use because it confuses people, but 0 point energy, it's same shit, okay? So imagine I have like this circle, right? Okay, say this is a spatial object, and then all of a sudden, boom, like it's not there. That's counter spatial. Things going into counter space. That's what the ground, like how you have it in electricity, you have your hot, your neutral, and your ground. That's your counter spatial component. But anyway, so you have a gun being shot. All right, bullets, your dielectric. These toroids that are happening, and as I'll play the video, you'll see them better. Okay, that's magnetism. Magnetism is spatial. Your toroidal field, it is. The toroid comes because it's necessary, because it is how the loss of energy extrapolates itself in this physical world. Okay. So, and then the dielectric is hyperboloid, and those are the exact same thing. Okay. goes again just to show you the hyperconnectivity, or the incommensurability, which is just a super fancy way of saying fractals. Like, I struggled with that word for a long time, and I know a lot of other people struggle with the concept of that word. Like, it's an ancient metaphysical word that most people have never heard of, and it's like, once you really understand it, it really just fractals. Okay, that's the easiest way to think of it. It's fractals. So everything's the same. The torus is the hyperboloid. The hyperboloid is the torus. They're negative images of one another. But so let's keep playing this gun being shot underwater. Okay. And then watch obviously there's the giant toroids, and you can see it's going counterspatial. Okay. Boom. Torus. Big torus. Okay. And everything's boom happening, and boom, boom, boom. Okay. This is all, and why is all this happening? Pressure, the exact same reason why magnets attract and repel. Okay. It's really acceleration in the creation of space. Acceleration when we're talking about attraction, and the creation of space when we're talking about repulsion. That is the repulsion is true magnetism. Okay, so like if I had the right setup, I could just put one magnet here, or even you really don't even need the right setup. But if you had two magnets in the tube, you know, and you would press them together, you know, repelling, boom, it would shoot out. But all right, so let's show you Charles Proteus-Steinmetz's graph. Okay, this is the electric field. This is, okay, so this line that you have here going across, that's your dielectric inertial plane. Okay, I should explain, this is the electric circuit of the AC power lines.